Josh Jelinski is the president of Wealth Quarterback LLC, a registered investment advisory firm located in New Jersey. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm or its representatives by securities regulators, nor is it an indication that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Investment advisory services may only be provided to clients in jurisdictions in which the firm and its representatives are appropriately registered or exempt from registration. You should not assume that any discussion or information contained in this broadcast serves as the receipt of or as a substitute for personalized investment advice from the advisor. Different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk, and there can be no assurance that the future performance of any specific investment, investment strategy, or product, or any non-investment related content made reference to directly or indirectly in this broadcast will be profitable, equal any corresponding indicated historical performance level or levels, be suitable for your portfolio or individual situation, or prove successful. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC. Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call it
2 minutes spots.
321-0710. 800-321.
When you're ready, you just throw it and I'll take it, okay?
Let's kick for financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Good morning, America. This is Ernesto Caleri. I am Josh Jelinski's faithful weekly wingman. I always offer the man on the street perspective. And your host is the Financial Quarterback. And we are closing out 2021. We're taking calls today for 2 hours straight. So we want to hear from you. How was 2021? Oops, sorry about that. I hit my own mute button. So anyway, how was 2021 for you? We had great hosts this year on the Financial Quarterback radio show. We had hosts like Lacey Hunt. We had Richard Smith, who's the cycles guy. We had my absolute favorite guest. One of my favorite guests is Harry Dent. He is an electrifying personality. And of course, we have on staff here, we have a Top Gun fighter pilot. Tom, help me out. I'm drawing a brain freeze here. Tom is our compliance guy. He's always listening in to make sure I get things right. Hey, Tom, can you hear me? At any rate, I guess we're having a technical problem. We're going to go to commercial. Thanks so much.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, coming to you live, talking about all things financial and taking your calls. This is an open line edition of the broadcast. Live for nearly 2 hours, we will take your calls on all matters financial. What's the status of all those congressional retirement proposals and how to record Social Security cost of living adjustments will be impacted by high inflation and Medicare premiums. Maybe you're getting your Medicare statement and you don't know what to do with it. Call us right now at 800-321-0710. Then, have you hit your retirement savings goal? It may be unwise to unload some stocks. And the IRS wants to know about your crypto transactions this tax season. We'll talk about that and more, but I always love to hear from you. So give us a call at 800-321-0710. During 2021, Congress has taken up a number of different retirement proposals, and it's been difficult to keep track of them all. I'm going to give you an update on how things stand at the moment. Of course, new developments could occur anytime. This is from IRAhelp.com, the slot report. Now, several retirement bills have been making their way through Congress. These bills include Secure 2.0, which the long name is called Securing a Strong Retirement Act of 2021, which the House Ways and Means Committee passed back in May. Among the provisions of Secure 2.0 are a delay in the RMD age and an increase in IRA and plan catch-up contributions. Although Secure 2.0 and the other related bills have enjoyed bipartisan support, it is unlikely any of those bills will be passed until at least 2022. Remember, the Build Back Better plan, otherwise called the Build Back Broke plan, has only been passed by the House, and Secure 2.0 and related bills are only proposals. On November 19th, 2021, the House of Representatives have passed the Build Back Better plan. The $1.7 trillion spending package includes a number of changes to retirement account rules. If you have a question, though, now is the time to chime in at 800-321-0710 if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have. No question is a dumb one except the one that you do not ask. The so-called backdoor Roth and mega backdoor Roth would be eliminated January 1, 2022 for all individuals regardless of income. So you have until December 31st, 2021, 11:59 p.m. to do conversions of after-tax dollars. But I want to be clear. We are only open as a firm, and this is, a lot of people now, they're taking like a week off in between Christmas and New Year's. And a lot of companies we're dealing with, financial companies, have reduced staff. So if you want to look at doing a Roth for year end, you really have just, I would say, 7 working days left. The 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And don't call us on the 30th and expect us to jump. We are going to those who are at the head of the line. We'll try our best to accommodate your last-minute demands. I've told many of you. Many of you are getting estate planning life insurance. Many of you have paused estate planning because some of the estate taxes that they were talking about are not going to be passed. Well, that could be a dreadful mishap. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. If you have a question, now would be the time to chime in. Now, the so-called backdoor Roth and mega backdoor Roth eliminated. What also will be in the BBB plan? Conversion of pre-tax dollars. Roth conversions of pre-tax IRA and company plan funds would be barred for high-income individuals. and married taxpayers jointly filing with a magi over 450. However, the proposal would not be in effect until 2032. I mean, think about that. They're looking to ban Roth conversions. What does that tell you? What does it tell you? It tells you the government believes that your money is a public good. So they give you this benefit. I've heard politicians say this. Your 401k is not yours because you wouldn't have that asset if you didn't save. If you didn't live on pork and beans and rice, you would not have accumulated what you've accumulated, and they don't care. They view it as their money. Well, you know what? We'll give you strategies to outsmart the idiots in Washington legally. Now, to be fair, they could make taxes 90%, couldn't they? That's the type of country we live in today, where politicians are not content. Ask someone who wants higher taxes. They never give this answer straight. What is the question? What is the amount that you think is fair for the government to take from me? They never answer that question. Have you ever heard that question, Ernesto?
I have. You're reminding me of our friend Herman, our late friend Herman Cain with the 999.
Has anybody ever answered that question? Nobody's ever answered. I've people say, well, Josh, pull some slack. You know, the rich should pay their fair share. But what is that fair share? Nobody ever defines it. If it's 20%, if it's 30, okay, fine, 30. Well, then we can pass laws to have a 30% flat tax. And then maybe a 28, then maybe a 20. I'm a big advocate. I always thought the 999 plan was dumb. Here's why. You're adding a national sales tax, and you're adding a national some other tax. The 9% income tax was great, but I would feel that if that did pass and the government was left to maybe more sinister characters than the late Mr. Cain, you know, it would be a 20-20-20 plan or a 10-10-10. It's easy to kind of move off of 9. I prefer the Steve Forbes flat tax or the flat tax proposals where the first 50 grand of income is exempt from all taxation. So if you're struggling, you don't pay any tax. Then if you make over 50 grand, I think it was like 15 to 20%, no gimmicks, no loopholes, you know, so that's one theory to think about. What do you think about that? Like that idea?
You never get a successful person, though, to run for office. You always get these career politicians.
Yeah, that's true. So, although that was what I was hoping with President Trump, that we would get some really bold tax relief, and the tax plan was, to me, it was okay. It wasn't like landmark. It was good. It's better than the Build Back Better proposals to raise taxes, to eliminate the backdoor Roths. But to me, I wanted big, bold solutions like a flat tax or the elimination of the income. Now, if you eliminate the income tax and you had a national sales tax, I'd be okay with that. That is the fair tax. So we're talking about the Build Back Better plan and what it means. So, folks, you have a limited time to do Roth conversions, especially if you make significant money. Now, a lot of what we're covering may be confusing and even intimidating to you, but I'm here to tell you, with the right team on your side, you may be able to achieve financial security for yourself and your loved ones. Or maybe you've achieved financial security. Maybe you've accumulated enough money to be okay, and you're worried about the latest tax grab by Congress. What does this mean that they are now talking about changing the Roth? Well, what they're talking about is not eliminating the Roth. They're talking about phasing out the benefits. So for all those people who said don't do a Roth because they can change the rules at any time, yes, they can change the rules, but they will grandfather you in. They always do that. Contribution and RMD limits for mega IRAs. High-income individuals whose combined IRA and defined contribution retirement accounts exceed $10 million would be subject to two new limits. First, they wouldn't be allowed to make additional IRA or Roth IRA contributions. Second, an RMD, a required minimum distribution, would be required regardless of age. These limits wouldn't apply until 2029. By contrast, the Ways and Means Committee proposal would have been effective in 2022. What does this tell me again? If you've accumulated a large amount in middle class vehicles, meaning we help a lot of people, they have anywhere from 50,000 to 50 million. But a lot of you have done really well and have accumulated what I would say between 500 grand and $10 million. I don't know what you would call yourselves. Mass affluent, high net worth. You have enough money to be dangerous, but not enough never to worry again. And a lot of these tax laws are going to affect you, the accumulator. They're not affecting the Jack Dorseys of the world. They're not affecting the Zuckerbergs of the world. And you know what? God bless job creators. I don't have any animosity to them. But what I find interesting is there was all this talk about taxing billionaires, and what they settled on is eliminating Roths if you make over 400 grand in 2032, eliminating Roth conversions, what are called backdoor Roths. You can still do a Roth conversion until 2032, though. Eliminating money above 10 million from an IRA, the so-called Mitt Romney rule. Think about that. You were a good boy or girl in school. You did your homework. You had perfect attendance. You didn't come from money. You came from Brooklyn. You came from Queens. You worked your way up. You came from Newark or wherever you came from. You built yourself up by saving. You lived on less. You maybe had a second job. You maybe did without that purse or that handbag or those fancy shoes or that nice car for 20 years. And you saved. And your money grew. You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. But you know what? If, by very chance, your IRA exceeds 10 million, your public enemy number may be 1. It's crazy to think about. And you might say, well, Josh, I have $2 million. How could I ever be worth 10 million down the road? Or I've only 500,000. How could I be worth 10 million? My friends, it's the law of compound interest. The market has a progression where there's this roller coaster, but it generally trends up. And it generally trends up at a rate of about 6 to 7%, which a dollar doubles every 10 years, 10.2 years at 7%. So we'll talk about that, but think about that. If you have $1 million now, 10 years from now, you may have 2. 10 years from that, you may have 4. 10 years from that, you may have 8. So 30 years from now, it may be very easy to accumulate because of inflation. Think about it. If anybody said 100 grand a year, when I was a kid, if somebody said, you can make 100 grand a year for the rest of your life, you would take it. Now that's kind of like middle class. 6 figures was the pinnacle, a job with 6 figures. Now it's like, okay, doesn't really do much for people because of inflation. Next up, we have George. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing? Good morning, Josh. My question has to do with, do you know if the IRS is going to give you that deduction again for unemployment collected in 2021, like they did last year, the first 10,000, they didn't tax you, something like that?
Will the IRS give a tax break on the first 10,000?
I think it was like last year, 10,000 at the last minute. They didn't charge a tax on some of the unemployment. You remember what I'm talking about? on your income tax?
I'm not sure. I know they did something last year. I think it's gone.
Right.
But
This year is my question.
I think it's gone. But
You think it's gone?
I'll look it up.
Okay, I'll be listening in.
Unemployment benefits were tax-free in 2020, according to USA Today. Don't expect that in 2021. There was an exclusion of up to $10,200 enacted in the American Rescue Plan. That's on 2020 income. I don't know. They're silent on the IRS website on 2021. So,
Okay, so they don't know.
maybe we have some accountants listening who can chime in. Give us a call at 800-321-0710. We have a great deal of accountants. And folks, give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, for the free no obligation review. The Journal of Accountancy website talks about that as well. I don't know whether it's only 2020. Everything I'm looking says 2020. Nothing really says 2021. So probably not the case for 2021. I don't see anything for 2021. I just see 2020. So in 2020, though, that's a good point. If you paid taxes on your unemployment, you can file an amended return and get that back if you haven't. So a lot of people didn't take advantage of that. So there's a new reporting requirement also in the Build Back Broke plan. There is a proposed new report requirement for employer-defined contribution plans to provide information to the IRS on account balances of $2.5 million or more. The new reporting requirement was delayed until 2029. They're going to look at your IRA or 401k as a sort of limit, ATM, if you will. So the government's broke. We're going to tax a wealth tax on all the money you have in 401ks if you're above 2.5 million. Because, hey, it's only 1%. Although that to me would be more palatable than totally eliminating it if you did what you were supposed to do. Elon Musk to pay the largest federal tax ever. Now, you may not be Elon Musk, but maybe you feel like him. Maybe you're paying more in tax every year and you don't know what to do with your money. Give us a call at 800-321-0710. According to the IRS website, it is phased out for 2021. It only applies to income in 2020. So now maybe if you paid tax, you can get that back. You can file an amended return. Next up, we have Chris, who doesn't understand his new company's Roth. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes. Hi, Josh. It actually concerns my daughter who works for a major healthcare insurer. She got a note, an email the other day, and it talks about after pre-tax contributions. She contributes to her 401k to the max, $20,500. And about 20%
Yeah,
of
I'm
that
having trouble hearing you. If you could call back in a better line.
Okay,
it's very fuzzy. You're in like a tunnel. It's difficult to understand what you're saying. I can kind of make it out. But give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We got a YouTuber who says, I've got a $1.5 million New York City property to sell. Do I wait for the inflation rate to settle back down to 2% or sell now before the rate skyrockets and mortgage rates go to 5%? I would sell now before interest rates skyrocket. As interest rates go up, here's the thing, you get these experts on. I love Lacey Hunt. But I can count some financial regret personally by doing what they said, because you're sometimes motivated by fear rather than taking action. I would actually say that if Lacey Hunt is right, that would be bad for the real estate market anyway. So we'll have Dr. Hunt on pretty soon talking about financial stuff as always. But I would suggest selling now because mortgage rates are at epic lows, so people can still afford a bigger payday. Then maybe you rent for a year or two and wait till the market cools off. So Elon Musk, now this is, now Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted on Monday, let's change the rigged tax code so the person of the year will actually pay taxes and stop freeloading off everyone else. Now what Ms. Warren, Senator Warren, doesn't tell us is that a lot of the plans that more liberal politicians on the left and the right created Elon Musk. They gave a government subsidy to those who would buy electric cars, and now they're decrying his wealth. Now, I'm against all government subsidies of business. It's kind of dumb, but he took advantage of the rules. He was smart. Now, he said he would pay more taxes than any American in history this year. Is the claim true? Only the Iras knows for certain who the largest taxpayer in history is, but Forbes says Musk appears to be right. The eccentric billionaire likely owes the government $8.3 billion. Business Insider projects Musk's tax bill is even higher when state taxes are included. Taxes on his stock, nearly $1 billion in net investment income tax, and the billions he likely owes California could add up to about $12 billion. I don't know why he didn't wait till he moved to Texas, but he might. I think he lived in that box in Texas, lived in like a small home. That may have been intentional so he could claim Boca Chica, Texas as a state income tax. We may have a tax nexus battle for the ages, Texas versus California, for who gets the capital gains tax from the sale of Tesla. Now, there's reports that he could owe $12 billion. Elizabeth Warren says he's a tax, cheat in a way, that the tax code is rigged. What say you? Give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, give us a call right now, 800-321-0710, and type in your questions into the YouTube chat box. We'll be answering all of your questions today. It's an open line edition of the program. Call me now, 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski. Don't touch that dial.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, taking your calls on all matters financial at 800-321-0710. The question is Elon Musk a freeloader, like Elizabeth Warren would suggest? I do believe that the whole premise of Tesla was built upon government bailouts of a very wealthy man. So, in a way, she's smart. In a wrong way, though, I think he probably will pay $15 billion in taxes, according to many people. Jeff Bezos also paid a lot in taxes. I don't know why they're paying a lot in taxes, personally. You know, these guys could just loan against their company's stock and seemingly avoid taxes. So I don't know. I wonder if they're doing things for estate planning purposes, you know, like, or maybe that's a tell. Maybe it's a bad sign for Tesla or Amazon. Or maybe they're like, hey, I'm a billionaire. I just want to stay a billionaire forever. I'm going to have $15 billion in cash. Now Warren, according to fee.org, said he is a freeloader. Do you agree with this? Now, some would say that this is preposterous, and this is from John Miltimore at fee.org. So very interesting. And now what really appears to bother certain politicians is that Musk has so much. In other words, there is a politics rooted in envy. Now, the pre-Socratic philosopher Democritus, in a wonderfully libertarian quote, once warned of the danger of envy and the purpose of the law. Just laws, he wrote, would not prevent each man from living according to his inclination unless individuals harmed each other. For envy creates the beginning of strife. Strife is precisely what Warren and those who share her philosophy are sowing. I don't know if Warren is solely focused on envy. I think the idea is Tesla, by the way, though, for the good part of Tesla and government bailouts, Tesla employs 80,000 people with really well-paying jobs who've built no fewer than 623,000 energy-efficient cars. If you believe in the carbon problem and you follow that scientific result, he's a hero. Now, most politicians, a senator, for example, makes $174,000 all at taxpayer expense. It's a lot we want to talk about, but I'd love to hear from you. So we're going to go back to talking about the Build Back Better plan. Statute of limitations for non-compliance of IRAs. The BBB extends the statute of limitations from 3 to 6 years for the IRS to go after the misreporting of IRA valuations and prohibited transactions. This will be effective January 1, 2022. Why is this? It's because of Peter Thiel's $5 billion Roth. So they want to allow the IRS to go after people who misreport in their terms. Now, mind you, everything Peter Thiel did was legal. eBay or PayPal or whatever that company he owned was when he put shares of his stock in his Roth, nobody wanted it. It was like a penny stock. And it ballooned exponentially. And he was the beneficiary of it, and it's a $5 billion Roth. Now realize he will be paying 40% in estate taxes. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We would love to talk with you about all of your financial questions. Call us now, 800-321-0710. Now, contribution and RMD limits, new reporting requirements, statute of limitations for IRA noncompliance. Now, 2 controversial provisions have been dropped. The first would have prohibited IRA investments limited to accredited investors. The second would have tightened the prohibited transaction self-dealing rules. Next topic, news that inflation rose to a historic high in November probably comes as no surprise to retirees, but they may be in for another shock when they receive their monthly Social Security checks in January. By consulting with an advisor, people can evaluate their withholdings from their Social Security benefits, or paying estimated quarterly tax payments can help you avoid a big tax bill later. So according to CNBC, Social Security Administration announced in October that beneficiaries will get a 5.9% boost. That is the biggest COLA, cost of living adjustment, in 4 decades. Yet since then, another key measure of inflation, the CPI, also reached historic highs. Now, we don't know if inflation is indeed transitory or not. I'm beginning to feel it is transitory. I'm feeling that people are starting to struggle financially at a deeper level. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Are you finding that, Ernesto, man on the street?
Sorry about that. My mic was mute. Yes, I mean, everyone I talk to is, even if they have a great job, they're stressed out about grocery prices and gas prices.
So people may start spending less, although we'll see. Now, for retirees who've been living on a fixed income for a long time, higher prices can cut into their ability to pay for food, rent, and prescriptions. Too many of you are stuck at zero. You have a bunch of money in cash, earning nothing, and you don't have a plan to counteract the ravages of inflation. Now, more than 64 million Social Security beneficiaries are due for increases to their monthly checks. The estimated average monthly benefit for all retired workers will rise to $1,657, up from $1,565, a $92 increase. Just how much more money will appear in monthly checks could also be affected by another item, rising Medicare Part B premiums. The standard Part B premium for 2022 will be $170.10, a 14.5% increase from $148.50 this year. Part B premium payments are often deducted directly from your monthly checks, so Part B is going up. A rule called the Hold Harmless provision protects beneficiaries from having their benefits reduced 1 year to the next due to increases in Medicare Part B premiums. But those who pay IRMA are excluded from that protection. IRMA stands for the Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMA. So a lot of you are paying extra charges on your Medicare. If you want to learn how to minimize those, call us at 888-988-JOSH, and call us now for the free review at 888-988-JOSH, year-end review. Do a Roth before it's too late. 888-988-5674, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Okay, we're back taking your calls on all matters financial at 888-988-JOSH. If you want the free review, and 800-321-0710 if you want to give me a call, ask me any financial question you have. But if you have enough money to live comfortably in old age, why not take some chips off the table? According to CNBC, this involves shifting some of your money from stocks to bonds and cash, which are generally less volatile. Now, stocks are an important building block in any retirement portfolio, according to the CNBC article. They yield higher returns and, on average, are than safer types of investments. But those returns come with more risk, namely the possibility of a big loss. Young investors have ample time to claw back losses, but near retirees don't. Should be stated up front, most retirees need at least some stock exposure to guard against other risks like inflation and longevity. The biggest risk you have is longevity and inflation. Taxation is probably the third risk. Have you evaluated your retirement plan on the basis of longevity, inflation, and taxation? Now, a market crash might mean a huge loss and the need to sacrifice important retirement goals, like putting a kid through college or traveling the world. According to Alan Roth, those risks outweigh the benefits of having a bit more money, which, if you've hit your retirement savings goal, you theoretically don't need. This framework begs two questions. How do I know I've hit my retirement goal? And how do I de-risk my portfolio? Figuring out how much you might need for retirement can be tough. There are several unknowns: investment returns, lifespan, inflation, cost, for example. Next up, we have Claudia, who has a question. Go ahead, Claudia.
Yes, Josh. I was trying to get an appointment, but nobody was answering your phone. Anyway, my question is, I did an in-plan conversion last year, and when I did my taxes, they considered it a rollover, so they didn't charge me with any taxes. I didn't get anything, and I want to do another one this year, so I'm very afraid. I don't know if it's good or bad.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of, because when I got my statement, it doesn't add to my existing Roth. I was transferring $35,000 from my 401k to my Roth 401. And when I get a statement, it just shows it in a different category, in-plan Roth conversion.
Yeah, well, you can do an in-plan Roth conversion this year. And if you're having trouble with it, give us a call. We can help you do it by year end, because this may be one of the last years you can do it.
Right, I know that, because next year I have to take my RMD.
Sure. And we'd be happy to meet with you.
So I tried calling that 888 number, Josh, and no one was answering it. I've been trying 3 times, but it was ringing out.
Okay. What number did you call?
I called 888-988-5674.
Oh, very good. 888-988-JOSH. So
yes, I called that number.
Well, why don't you call it again? Somebody should be picking up now.
And could I meet you in New York, because I'm living in Queens?
Well, you can meet us over Zoom. We're doing Zoom or webinars and whatever. As long as you have a phone, cell phone, or computer, we can meet comfortably. If you need somebody to come in person, we do have in-person advisors as well. And just don't hesitate to call us right now. 888-988-JOSH. Hey, you got the number right. We just tested the phone line, so did you leave a message? Maybe there was a flood of calls. I don't know. So give us a call, and then leave your call, your number with the call screener, and they'll call you or you can just call us again now. Somebody should pick up. We do have operators standing by live to take your calls. So give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH. Any other questions, Claudia?
I want to know if it'll affect my Medicare or other benefits I receive, like my social, my pension. Would it affect it if I do another in-plan conversion from 401k to Roth 401?
You want to know what the impact will be on Medicare tax, Social Security tax. We have a program that can customize your situation for you. It's very powerful. So, yeah, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and we'll see. I don't know, there are people there. I just texted them. And so I would try them again, okay?
Josh.
So thank you so much, Claudia. We'd love to help you. And next caller, go ahead, 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. And if for some reason the phones are busy, keep calling, 888-988-JOSH. It means a lot of you are taking advantage of the year-end review for Roth conversions and the like, also IRAs. Give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be taking your questions all hour at 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, there's no question except the one that you do not ask. So the IRS, so basically the point of the last segment was just because you're worried about the future may not be time to sell all of your stocks. It may be a time to diversify, to re-look at your income tax scenario. Now, Pat says, what are some ways to reduce your IRMA? Well, one of the ways to reduce your IRMA is to have more money in Roths, cash value insurance, because when you take money out of a Roth, take money out of an insurance contract, that does not count against IRMA. Actually, what does hurt IRMA is having dividend-paying stocks outside of an IRA. RMDs hurt IRMA from an IRA. So you want to get money out of your pre-tax IRAs over time. You want to have more money in after-tax accounts, tax-free accounts, not accounts that throw off income taxable things. Now, if you have a high RMD, you may not be able to avoid IRMA for a year or two, but you may want to do what's called a strategic rollout. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and we'll help you with that. The days of rock bottom rates are nearly over. The Fed will aggressively unwind last year's bond buying sooner than originally planned after recent reports on inflation continued to show a sharp rise in prices. Now, the Fed has literally been trying to have inflation for years, and finally we have it. And what are they going to do to stave off that? I don't see a problem with 3% interest rates. Why is everybody annoyed about a 3% CD rate or a 3% bank account rate? Everybody gets scared about the Fed rising interest rates. That would be good for seniors. It would be good for savers. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. If you're worried about the interest rate hikes, and the NASDAQ fell this week, the S&P slumped, the Dow fell, all this week on news that we might have rising inflation, which would cause the Fed to raise interest rates. Now, this is pretty crazy. Wholesale prices rose 9.6% on the year. Now, all of this could be due to COVID. It's not necessarily inflation, as Lazy Hunt talks about. Now, as the U.S. stock market is whipped by rising inflation and the new Omicron variant, you may be wondering what to do with your money. The answer is to get a second opinion. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
Which I am.
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And if you're wanting the year-end review, keep calling. We have reports of busy phone lines. So many of you are a part of the procrastination nation, waiting till the last minute to do your planning. But we're here for you anyway. Chris, go ahead.
Yes, Josh, got a note from the HR company, division of our company, and it said beginning December 28th, this company plan will offer an option to make after-tax contributions along with the current pre-tax and Roth contributions. Like the Roth 401k contributions, you pay taxes on after tax. It goes on to say an opportunity to save $10,000 more than the traditional IRS limits for combined pre-tax and Roth accounts, $20,500. So, Josh, what is this? Is this backdoor thing that you talked about, or is this something else? And is it a good idea to do?
Well, is it a good idea to do? You could look at the backdoor Roth. I'm assuming it has to do with the backdoor Roth. Basically, the opportunity for our listeners is there is a high likelihood that the backdoor Roth will be banned. What is the backdoor Roth? If you make a lot of money, it may be one of your only ways to do a Roth. The beauty of a Roth is the money grows tax-free and you can pull it out tax-free. But many of you make enough money to do a Roth. Some of you make too much money. So boo-hoo. So you can do an after-tax IRA contribution, meaning you don't get the write-off. But you call up your company and you say, well, I want to convert that money that was after tax to Roth. And you pay tax on whatever the growth was. So if you put in 10 grand into the after-tax portion of your 401k and you call up the company and there's growth from 10 grand to 11, you would pay tax on the 1,000 of gains, but then all that money would grow tax-free for the rest of your life. That's called the backdoor Roth. I'm oversimplifying it because it can get kind of confusing. If that's you, if you have that provision, it may be right for you. So you can call us at 888-988-JOSH, and we'll go over whether a backdoor Roth is right for you. The other thing with a backdoor Roth is you do 7 grand in a non-deductible IRA, then you quickly call your custodian and see if they can convert to Roth. They'll tell you if you can or can't. If they say you can't, call us anyway, and we might be able to say maybe you're asking the question wrong. I hope that helps you. Any other follow-ups, Chris?
No, they said there's more information going to be coming out about this, but it sounds like it contribute $20,500 as I do now, and then an extra $10,000 into this. It's after tax dollars, right? Which would make it $30,000 a year contributing to.
Well, yeah, that sounds like the back door. You can do the after tax, but then you have till December 31st of this year to convert it. So.
Well, this program, they say, is not going to start until December 28th. I guess it's more next year.
So give us a call.
Anyway.
I'd love to help you. Next up, we have Adam. Go ahead, Adam. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. And folks, we're taking your calls all morning at 800-321-0710. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Josh. Nice to talk to you again. I'm kind of piggybacking off of the last caller, I think. I did my contribution of the $6,000 to the Roth, and I'm under the eligibility limit, so I believe it maxes out at $140K in order to do the contribution. But now I want to do maybe a $30,000 Roth conversion. Does that count towards my AGI? Will I still be able to do the $6,000, which I did, and do a Roth contribution if that puts me over $140K?
It may. I'll have to look that up for you. That would be a good accountant question. The conversion is included in your AGI from all of my research, but the conversion amount is not included as income for Roth IRA eligibility. This is from an old article, though, that I'm reading, so I would double check that for you, and I'll give you the exciting answer when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial. Give us a call, 888-988. Josh and Adam, if you want to stay on through the break, we'll answer more of your questions at 800-321-0710. We'll be back after these messages.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. Number one for music, radio, and podcasts.
We'll keep you ahead of COVID's unpredictable moves until we're out of the woods. We are the voice of New York. 710 WOR.
An iHeart radio station.
39 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Paul DeCastro. COVID cases and hospitalizations on the rise once again across the country. And here in New York City, the news surge shuttering Broadway shows and other live performances. ABC's Josh Einiger reports from outside Radio City Music Hall.
The famed Radio City Christmas Spectacular won't even make it to Christmas because of an outbreak raging through the Rockettes. A handful of Broadway shows, including Hamilton and Moulin Rouge, also have canceled performances. This was supposed to be the season of renewal for the tourist trade. But the only thing surging is the giant wave of the Omicron variant that's now crested right over the city.
Well, police are hunting for a suspect after a double shooting left one man dead and another injured in Brooklyn last night. It was around 10:15 when officers arrived at Rockaway Parkway and Glenwood Avenue in Canarsie after receiving a call of shots fired. That's where they found two men with gunshot wounds. One of the victims struck in the neck and later died at the hospital. Police say the other victim is stable and is not cooperating with the investigation. The Biden administration has a new strategy to keep children in the classroom using increased COVID-19 testing.
In the face of many school districts going virtual to avoid spreading the Omicron variant, the move will use a test-to-stay approach. Previously, unvaccinated students who had close contact with a peer who was COVID-19 positive were required to quarantine. Now those students can remain in school if tested negative for the virus at least twice during the week. I'm Jim Forbes.
The rising death toll from the Kentucky tornadoes continues to climb. The deadliest storm in the state's history. Governor Andy Beshear says that 77 Kentuckians have died. He made that announcement yesterday. One person is still missing. WOR Sports, the Nets are bringing back Kyrie Irving as a part-timer for games to be played outside New York and Toronto. Irving will have to pass a series of COVID-19 tests before returning to the hardwood, and the Nets can use him because they are down 7 players right now due to COVID protocols. On the court tonight, the Nets are home for Orlando. The Knicks take on the Celtics in Boston. Hockey, the Devils skate in Detroit. New Jersey has lost 4 in a row and 8 of its last 9.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. A cloudy sky through this afternoon with showers as the high hits 46. More rain will fall tonight with a low down to 41. And then drier and turning colder to wrap up the weekend on Sunday after a morning high of 44. Temperatures will fall into the 30s with a clearing trend taking place Sunday on Monday with a high in the upper 30s. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next news at 11. Start your day with Len Berman and Michael Riedel in the morning, 6 till 10 weekdays. I'm Paul DeCastro and 710 WOR, an NBC News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback. Give us a call, 800-321-0710. We're going to the phone lines. Do we still have Adam, or he's gone?
Yeah, I'm here.
So does conversion count against your AGI? That's basically the question?
Yes, because I did the 6,000 contribution, but I want to do a conversion now, which will
accountant. But according to everything I'm reading from Zacks, from CNN, taxable income, from a Roth IRA conversion is not included. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, just one other quick question. For downside protection, I was thinking, I know you don't recommend buying anything, and I won't mention any specific names, but like a NASDAQ short ETF fund or something, like an ultra fund for downside protection. Do you agree with that as part of your portfolio to protect against a big decline that might be coming up?
Well, I don't know. I would only recommend. Well, I don't make any recommendations over the radio. You're basically talking about inverse ETFs, is that correct?
Exactly, like a ultra or a 2 times leveraged short.
Yeah, those
fund
can be
against the
very
NASDAQ.
risky, and if you are able, like we have chief market strategists that watch them every day, they're meant to be traded on a very short-term basis because there's different time decay elements. Because sometimes they're notes, they're not direct, or they're derivative-based products. So I would say for the average person, no. I would say with a financial advisor who has some experience in that, you may want to look at that as a portion. I know you're very adept and you're a big student of the markets. So, I mean, it's something if you do buy it, you want to watch it every day. It's not something that most people can tolerate. I do have a portfolio that we've looked at with David Ranson. I don't know if you remember. He was on the show a couple months ago. I don't know how old David Ranson is. Can somebody Google that? I love that guy. That guy's like a rare find. I know you're a very loyal listener, Adam. I appreciate you listening. Consider you a good friend of the program and a good friend. You've been a great listener all these years. I think he was a really cool find, and he gave an article on a portfolio construction that we're testing with clients. And so I could give you that article if you call us, send me an email. It was basically you have a certain amount in treasuries, a certain amount in gold, a certain amount in commodities, and a certain amount in stocks. And this blend, he was saying, now, past performance is not indicative of future results, that it held up remarkably well during the COVID panic because the treasuries and the gold offset the risk against the stock market. And, basically you're not involved in timing. Now, we do have a tactical program based on the time series work of Stan Harley now for listeners, where we are engaged in forecasting and where if you're worried about a downturn, as I am, it's a way to be defensive but also the hardest time is to know when back to buy in. So we think we've solved that problem with our program. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'd love to meet with you if you want to go through that, our tactical program, or this new David Ranson portfolio called the Star Portfolio. A lot of you are worried about the market, but you don't really know what to do with it. And I think Ranson makes a good point. If you blend in treasuries and gold against stocks, it may provide a better hedge than, for example, an inverse ETF. And also making sure, I mean, right now is a crazy part in the market. It reminds me of very much the late 90s. The market has gone parabolic. So if I was a betting person, which I'm not, don't believe in it, and I'm not necessarily into, predicting everything right. I think human error is often into the equation. If you have 36,000 Dow, I could see a 38 or 39,000 Dow next year, and then the crash start. I could also see a correction coming this January or February. So, we got that Santa Claus rally, and then maybe a 10 to 20% pullback. So if I'm forecasting, that's kind of my forecast for the year. We could have some turbulence early part of the year, followed by a blow-off top, followed by some type of bear market. So give us a call. We'd love to talk to you, 888-988-JOSH. Now, somebody says, besides the Wall Street Journal, what are the top 3 paper publications you read every week or month? I don't read paper anymore. But I will explain what I read on a regular basis. I actually try to tune out the noise. I find that I make bad investment decisions when I watch CNBC or Fox Business. So I read the news basically every day on my phone. I have Apple News. And so I get a general sense of the direction of the markets, but I don't want to be unnerved by the day-to-day news. I believe when you pick an investment thesis and you stick with it, but if the data goes against you, I follow the daily Dow, NASDAQ, the S&P every day. And that to me is more reflective because I can see patterns and things like that. Next up, Helen, go ahead. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Now, I will give my
Josh.
3 best book recommendations as well. Go ahead, Helen.
I'm sorry.
Hello? Go ahead.
Hi. I have the equivalent of $20,000 maturing this month in Series E savings bonds. I'm wondering about your thoughts on the Series I. I was considering taking $10,000 of that in December and buying an I bond, and $10,000 again in January, given that the advertised rate is in excess of 7%. I also have.
I bonds are a good deal. You can only put in like 5 or 10 grand. I bonds are a great deal right now.
I'm sorry?
I bonds could be a great deal right now. But realize
that's
that after...
what I had read several articles, and I'm curious about your opinion on them. I have the equivalent taking the hit, obviously, tax-wise this year, but I'm willing to do that because I think that in the long run, it's going to be more than 6 months that I bond rate stays over up 7%.
I don't necessarily believe that, but we'll see. I could very much see next year we have a little deflation. Markets start correcting, going back to normal, and then this talk of inflation turns into deflation. But we'll see. But if you want to take that risk, basically you can put in 10 grand. So to put in 10 grand for the potential to make $715 is fine.
Well, I was considering, like I said, $10,000 now in December and $10,000 in January because it'll hit into the same rate range.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Any other suggestions about what to do with that? And considering also that next year I have the equivalent amount also maturing.
Well, meaning like what would
Obviously,
you
I've
do
always
beyond
held-
I-bonds?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. You could look at a conservative liquid portfolio comprised of treasuries, little gold, little S&P, little commodities. You could do, and that is a portfolio designed for people who are more conservative in their risk profile. You could also look at something we call the 712 portfolio, but we have an adaptation of that. Craig Israelson, who's a financial professor, came up with that. That's a cool little portfolio we could build for you. We also have what are called our strategic portfolios, where we have 12 different exchange-traded funds for you in a wide array of things like bonds, stocks, real estate, large cap, small cap, mid cap. And you could blend your risk profile. You could also look at fixed annuities. If you're just a fixed kind of CD and bond shopper, fixed annuities right now pay, 2.35 for a highly rated 5-year. You could do maybe a 3-year at 1.8, maybe 2.2, something like that, although rates are subject to change. And if you take money out before the term is done above 10%, sometimes there are surrender charges. So you want to read you want to know the fine print before you go into anything.
Yeah,
you could
I know.
also look at
some
fixed,
experience with the annuities and the fine print.
You could also look at fixed indexed annuities, where you pick an index, such as the S&P 500. And if the S&P 500 goes up 10% for the year, it would be subject to a cap. Caps are generally about 3 or 4% right now. And then if the market goes down, you don't make anything, you don't lose anything for that year. Again, though, you want to check the term. Maybe a 5-year term, maybe a 7, maybe you do a bond ladder. There's a lot of options for people who are conservative and don't want to put a lot of money at risk right now.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I'll look into those things. Thank you so much for taking the call. I appreciate it. And
Thank you. And folks, give us a call now, 800-321-0710. If you have a financial question, go to youtube.com, hit the subscribe button, and ask us any question. Go to youtube.com, search for The Financial Quarterback Radio Show, and you get to ask me any financial question you have. Somebody says, what are the top 3 publications that I read? I will tell you books that were instrumental in my kind of road to wealth. When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, The Financial Quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH. It's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback Radio program, 888-988-JOSH.
Financial Quarterback. We got a lot to talk about, but I really want to hear from you if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. Biden's team braces for child tax credit to lapse, may double the February payment. Tax refunds on unemployment benefits still delayed for thousands. Inflation and Omicron are weighing heavy on the markets. And the Fed's latest move will send borrowing costs higher. The American Rescue Plan waived up to federal tax on up to $10,200 of unemployment benefits. President Biden signed the pandemic relief law in March. The IRS has identified 16 million of you who may qualify for an associated tax refund or other benefits. This is what I was talking about earlier. Make sure your accountant didn't screw this up. The agency had sent more than 11.7 million refunds worth $14.4 billion. The IRS has plans to send another tranche by the end of the year. However, this isn't the case with all credits and deductions, such as the child premium tax credit or the earned income tax credit. The American Rescue Plan waived federal tax, but thousands of you may still be waiting on that tax refund. The IRS is grappling with a backlog of tax returns. Wonder if we just abolish the IRS. That would be great. Then we wouldn't have to spend all this money on IRS agents, enforcement. You know, there has been a thought of kind of having that, like a national sales tax, where just all the money goes, you buy something, just goes direct to the Treasury. That would work a lot easier. Then there would be very little need for administration, and there'd be little need for tax cheats. There'd be a way to tax hidden purchase, you know, the hidden economy. So if people are sheltering money in cash or Bitcoin when they buy something, that's how they'll be taxed. So if you received federal unemployment benefits, you may have overpaid on your federal tax bill last year and qualify for a refund. In other cases, an overpayment could be applied to taxes you would normally have owed. To date, the IRS has identified more than 16 million total people who may qualify for the tax break. The agency has sent over 11.7 million refunds worth $14.4 billion, according to the most recent data. Payments started in May. The IRS has indicated that they'd continue into the summer and fall. It's unclear how many people are still waiting. And all the people the IRS identified as potential candidates will necessarily qualify. The IRS plans to issue another $430,000 in refunds. The average refund, by the way, is $1,189. So if you received any amount, give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, and we could help you with that. Delays have largely affected taxpayers' returns. They may include, for example, a married couple in which each spouse received benefits. That could be very nice. So the IRS has a backlog of returns, and if you want help, give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH. We're there for you if you need any help. Now is the time to chime in. Now, the Biden administration is bracing for families to miss child tax payments, according to the FAMAG.com. Pushing off the president's economic agenda until next year means that the payments, which have been sent to families for the past 6 months but have expired Wednesday, are unlikely to be ready for January of 2015. Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, said the delayed payments could come in February if the president's tax and spend proposal, which has been put off until after the new year, gets through Congress in January. She says, if we get it done in January, we've talked to Treasury officials and others about doing double payments in February as an option. Psaki told reporters aboard Air Force One. The IRS has sought enactment of the bill before December 28th to ensure January 15th payments went out on time. The monthly payments is currently envisioned in the Build Back Better plan, give parents up to $300 per month for children under 6. I haven't gotten any of this money, by the way, so it's kind of a scam. Doesn't go to people who, you know, pay a lot in taxes. Goes to people generally, you know, didn't pay much in taxes. So it's a real scam, this whole child tax credit thing. As the U.S. stock market is whipped by rising inflation, Many of you are worried about what to do with your money. We'll talk about that as well. But folks, give us a call, 800 321 0710. 800 321 0710. The savings gap has been widened during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll talk about that and what could possibly go wrong. We're going to talk about the biggest economic risks of 2022. So give us a call now, 800 321 0710. If you have a financial question, 800 321 0710. We'd love to talk to you if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. The days of rock bottom interest rates are over. The central bank will aggressively unwind last year's bond buying sooner than originally planned. So refinancing a mortgage can still trim $100 to $200 off your monthly payment. That provides valuable breathing room to many of you when the costs of so many other things are on the rise. So you may want to look at having a refinance. While the Federal Reserve said Wednesday that interest rates will stay near zero, for now the quick tapering of bond purchases is seen as the first step on the way to interest rate hikes next year. Who cares? Interest rate hikes are good for the economy. But people really think they're not. So that's sort of an ominous sign for the economy. The Fed funds rate, which is set by the central bank, is the interest rate at which banks borrow and lend to one another overnight. Although that's not the rate that consumers pay, the Fed's moves still affect the borrowing and savings rates they see every day. Reducing the purchase of long-term assets is going to likely reflect a faster increase in long-term interest rates, and that should affect borrowing and saving, said Yiming Ma, an assistant finance professor at Columbia University Business School. Since the start of the pandemic, the Fed's historically low borrowing rates have made it easier to access cheaper loans and less desirable to hoard cash. Now that the central bank's easy money policies are nearing an end, consumers will pay more to borrow. Some already are. Borrowing costs are going up. Refinance your debts now. Don't wait. As the Fed tapers its bond purchases, long-term fixed mortgage rates will edge higher since they are influenced by the economy and inflation. For example, the average 30-year fixed rate home mortgage has already risen to 3.24%. Now that is historically low and is likely to climb to near 4% by the end of 2022, according to Jacob Channel, Senior Economic Analyst at LendingTree. Fortunately, there is still time for refinancers with good credit to get a rate below 3%, Channel added, even if those days are numbered. Currently, borrowers who are refinancing and have a good credit score can expect to find record low rates of about 2.65 for 30-year fixed rate and 2.35 for a 15-year fixed rate loan, according to LendingTree. I've been telling you for a long time, refinance your debt. Rates, sure. Could they go lower by a point if we have some deflationary spiral? Sure. But they're not doing that yet. Lock in that lower payment now because you never know. Rates could go up. Rates could go kind of sky high. And before you know it, it's too late. So what are some takeaways from today's show so far? Number one, refinance that mortgage. Number two, pay down consumer credit card debt. Number three, look at Roths. Look at after-tax Roths. Look at saving as much as you can in a pre-tax vehicle. Now, this is interesting. 7 years ago, former Federal Reserve Chair Ben Bernanke, remember him? He asked about criticism that his quantitative easing policy following the financial crisis would spark runaway inflation. Even the courtly, soft-spoken South Carolinian could barely conceal his contempt for the critics. Back in 2014, it was clear the biggest concern was deflation. What is striking is how expectations among professional investors and the public alike have changed to the point that some experts think that a 3% inflation rate in 2022's fourth quarter would confirm that it is not a long-term threat, in contrast to past inflation surges that were confined to a few sectors like energy. The current round has pervaded almost every sector of the economy in a fashion reminiscent of the 70s. Stagflation is here again. It's Jimmy Carter 2.0 all over again. Circumstances today are very different from 1990 and 2008. No one is talking about a recession. I don't know. We are. So people are not thinking that we're going to have a recession. But the massive run-up in debt and the jump in prices look eerily similar to 2008, I think. Next up, we have Irene. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm calling. I'm retired, but I had purchased saving bonds during the time that I was working, and I would like to know if I should cash those saving bonds in, or should I just leave them for my children?
Well, do you need them? And what is the interest rate?
No, I don't. I don't need them.
What is your interest rate?
On the saving bonds?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, because I purchased them years ago. They was taking them, deducting from my pay each month, each month during I worked at. So I got a lot of savings.
Well, it depends what they're making. Some bonds are making nothing because you've held them for longer than a certain period of years.
Right.
So
that's what
step
I think.
one,
I think that
figure out what you're making. You can go to Treasury Direct.
I don't think I'll be making anything.
You can go to TreasuryDirect.gov, see what they're making. And if you're making nothing, well, we might want to look at something else. Does that make sense?
Okay, because I was just gonna leave them there, and because I have it like in case I deceased, my daughter is gonna be the one that be getting from. So I'm just gonna leave them there for her.
Well, if you're earning nothing, and we have inflation, I would rather put that bond money in things that would do well for inflation or that would provide a better inheritance. Things like equities, index funds, ETFs, life insurance, all are better than leaving it at bonds. Now, if the bonds are paying, interest, and let's say it's 3 or 4%, and you were a conservative person, maybe we keep everything the same. But I would get your bonds audited. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So give us a call, 800-321-0710 if you have a financial question for us, or call us at 888-988-JOSH if you want the no-obligation second opinion on your review. Have you done any estate planning to make sure your daughter receives things with as little tax as possible? That would be my other question.
I'm not that, I'm not educated or as far as investment. I just, during the time I was working, I just bought bonds.
Well, you're smart enough to save. You're smart enough to call us today to try to get an answer. So what I would encourage you to do, call us at 888-988-JOSH. Number one, before you do anything with your money, you want to take an inventory of your current situation. We call that the asset inventory worksheet, where we go through your whole life on the protection, savings, and growth model. Then you take that data that you've learned about yourself, where you are now. You never know where you're going to go until you know where you are today. And we evaluate where you are from a standpoint of protection. So what's going to happen if you die, get disabled, live too long, get in a car wreck, house burns down? That's your protection. Sort of like your moat around your castle. Then we evaluate your savings accounts, like your bonds, but you have no reason to give the money to the government as an interest-free loan. At least cash them in, pay the tax, and buy an I-bond, because I-bonds are making something. Now, I'm not recommending you buy or cash them in over the air without getting a free review. So call me now, 888-988-JOSH. During the break, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We got Jim. Go ahead.
Hi, Josh. I have this is a question you were addressing a little while ago. This is strange for me too, because I worked for the IRS as a manager for 50 years. I'm retired now. I filed my son's return in February 21. He has 2 children in college, and he took the college credit. I'm online right now at the IRS.gov. He's supposed to get back. He was laid off because the college was laying people off. And he's been out of work, and he has a $2,200 refund. He just keeps, I'm online, like I said, I'm looking at it right now. I've called every month, and all I get is a refund status results. Your tax return is still being processed. Hello? Being processed 10 months later? A refund date will be provided when available. That's what it's saying online. I call the telephone number, I go online, and I try to go to the local office. I can't get any information. He needed the money for college, for his Christmas presents for his sons and his family, since he was laid off on unemployment. Is this normal? I'm thinking that maybe they have him in some sort of holding pattern to audit him, and they don't have the people. Do you have any idea what could be going on? They won't tell anybody.
Well, no, I think it has to do with this unemployment crisis we were talking about, where they have to issue all of these refunds, and they're checking, I guess, the unemployment rolls. And the next tranche is out this month. So if he gets it, call in. I would talk to some accountant. Maybe a CPA has dealt with this.
Okay, I am a CPA, and I can't get anywhere with it.
Can you go to the
Nobody
IRS
will tell you
office?
The office. All they'll tell you is it's still being processed. When available, they will send you a thing about the refund.
Can you
They
go
will
to the
schedule a
local
date.
office?
The local office there, you know how useless they are, the people they have over there. It's hard to say, but they aren't the brightest people. I guess they could go on the IDRS and try to find out the results, but they didn't. It's really, really incredible that 10 months later, he still hasn't got his money. And normally, so he's saying, I'm going to have to pay money now for the next year, and I still haven't got my refund from last year. And they are hurting. I mean, his wife is working. He's getting unemployment. And he needed the money for Christmas. It's just a shame.
Well, It appears that the government is on it. It's just, this is what happens when the government is on things. I mean, everything I'm reading is saying this delay in refunds, they're doing a tranche this month.
Okay.
So I don't know when that tranche will pay out. According to the article, I thought it was pretty soon.
Just want to, I hope it will be, because I feel very bad for him. Believe it or not, he said he couldn't afford to send out Christmas cards this year because, he's trying to pay all the tuition and he's using up all his savings with his two sons in college. And this is just a crisis, and I'm sure he's not the only one. I thought possibly they had some sort of an audit program going, and they threw him in a hopper, and they're waiting till they get some agents to audit this. But it's not a complicated return. It's really simple. So I don't know what the hell they have to audit. There's nothing on it.
Well, my heart goes out to you and your son. And
let me say one other thing, Josh, because you probably could, having worked there and being in management for 50 years when I retired from the IRS in New York City, many times, they're talking about this BBB thing and they wanted to hire more auditors. We figured it out. There's so much money not being collected because they don't have the collection facilities, the people. If they would authorize those agents, they actually, auditors, to collect the money that's on the books. It's already there. They just don't collect it. They could solve a lot of the government's problems. They just don't want to. It's unbelievable. I've been in meetings many times where they sat down and said, this is what we have on the books. We don't have the staff. They cut it every year. We don't have the staff to collect it. If they would fund the IRS to have a full staff, they could collect billions of dollars that are due in back taxes. They could solve the government's crisis right now. Oh, well.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
your help.
And next up we have Rob, who wants to know, did he make a mistake? Go ahead, Rob. What mistake?
Hi, Josh. So before I get to that, just to your previous caller, don't I feel like a sucker for being the honest guy, paying every last nickel when so many people are cheating the government, and then I have to hear about how I don't pay my fair share of taxes. So that steams me up, to say the least. So, Josh, I've been fortunate in my career, and I make a good living, not an exceptional living, but I've gotten to the point where I have fully maxed out Roth 401k. So I make zero 401k contributions pre-tax. I also maxed out HSA, and I'm able to pay the medical expenses out of my everyday expenses, although that's getting harder now with inflation. So, I thought of it as take the tax break now, and in the future, when the millennials take over, whatever my tax rates go up to, this money will be protected as much as it can be. That was my thought process. But it just so happened that this year my company was acquired, and I got a couple of nice retention bonuses. It pushed me into another tax bracket, and it's really taken my breath away how much of my bonus is going to be taken by the extra taxes. So my question is, I'm probably at the cusp of the 32 to 35% tax bracket, and I'm wondering if maybe after all I'm better off getting some pre-tax benefit now and riding it out later, or just do what I'm doing, because the tax bills really take your breath away for a middle-class person.
Yeah, I get murdered in taxes a lot. And so I hear you.
I'm paying more in taxes this year than my father ever made in his best year as income. And it took his breath away when I told him. And I'm like, it's a nice problem to have, but it's really debilitating, especially when you live around a lot of people with cash businesses who, make half and spend double. So it's just, it's something I'm trying to come to grips with.
No, I hear you. Law-abiding people like us, we're getting, screwed. But here's what I would do. I would look at, I would look at creating pre-tax benefits as much as you can.
Right.
Defined benefit programs, cash balance pension programs. We could show you or any of our listeners how to get write-offs of like $200,000, $300,000 if you own a business. That's one option.
I'm an employee of a big bank, so that's not real. I'm a straight W-2 employee.
You could max out your 401k, the pre-tax.
Yes, I do.
Ditch the Roth while you're making a lot, and then buy life insurance to pay the tax due on the Roth when you're older. That's what I like merging pre-tax with Roth, with insurance for higher income people, because if you max out your IRA today, yes, I do believe tax rates are going to be higher, but how much money do you have in the IRA it's like a break-even point. If you have millions of dollars in your IRAs, yes, do Roths. But you got to think of it like, what if you lost your job? How much do you have in that IRA? So if you have $1 million even, if you pull 4% out a year, 5% out a year, that's 50 grand a year. You're not going to be in a really high tax bracket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I have looked at it that way. I guess my question is, for now, what I've been doing is I've been maxing out the Roth 401k. I'm above the Roth IRA limits, so then I've been putting away non-deductible IRA to the max as well. So I'm basically putting
what you might want to do is change
away.
your whole 401k to pre-tax, and then still do the after-tax, and then Roth that. But you have till December 31st to do the after-tax backdoor Roth conversion.
Yeah, but that's a really high tax hit for the balances I have. I've looked into that, so that might not be an option.
Well,
that's
that might
really
be a
high
way to
tax
kind of hedge it,
right
but
now.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm on the right track.
The other thing,
it very much.
I would make sure you're on the right track. Give us a call. We can show you other ways to lower your taxable income through investing. A lot of people don't know about cost segregation and the like. So give us a call. We can show you other ways to lower your income taxes legally. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH. It's a great thing to do if you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders. Call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today, and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback. And we're talking about kind of ways to save money on your taxes for year end. You could look at the HSA. You could look at the FSA. Make sure you save your FSA dollars. You spend them by year end. Okay, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And I'd love to hear from you, 800-321-0710 if you have a question, 800-321-0710 if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. We're here live for you. And you get to ask us any and every financial question you have. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. So what about an outlook for 2022? What do you do with your money? Well, number one, you want to look at taxes, inflation, and longevity. Those are the three biggest risks a retiree faces, a pre-retiree faces, an individual faces. So number one, how do you lower your taxes, like this gentleman who called? Number one, you look at pre-tax 401ks. Number two, you look at after-tax money. Number three, you look at profit sharing. Number four, you look at a solo 401k. Number five, you look at creating a business. Number six, you look at being potentially a real estate investor. A lot of tax breaks for real estate investors that are all untouched by the Trump tax code. So there are three main risks. Taxation. You could also look at cost segregation analysis. Putting solar on your house gives you a write-off. There's a lot of things that get you write-offs that people don't take advantage of. There's all kinds of ways to get enhanced write-offs, giving to charity, looking at donor-advised funds, looking at charitable remainder trusts, all of those things, charitable giving, the QCD, the qualified charitable distribution. So risk number one in my outlook for 2022 is taxes. And there is no better time to do tax planning from a financial perspective than now. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. Now, I'm not an accountant, but you might say, why talk to my accountant? I am an accountant. But does your accountant tell you about these little-known strategies to take advantage of? Most don't. And most people need the financial quarterback in their life. So call us now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. Next up, we're taking your calls at 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, now's the time to chime in. So there are three main risks. First is taxation. Second is inflation. Too many of you have all of your money in cash because you're worried about market's going to crash. Never happens, or it does, and then it bounces back. So you're not in equities for the long term. Problem number three, longevity risk. Do you know there are programs that you could take your money in and protect yourself from longevity risk? Many people do not have a plan if they live longer than 84, 85. When you run through a financial plan, we have amazing financial planning software where you can simulate a market correction, where you can simulate a bad decade followed by a good decade. Most people do not remember from the year 2000 to 2010, the market did virtually nothing. No thing. If you put your money in the S&P index fund from 2000 to 2010, you got some dividends, but from capital appreciation standpoint, nothing. Look it up. S&P index had very little returns, slim to none, except for dividends from the year 2000 to the year 2010. The only gain was from reinvested dividends. Now, from 2010 to the present, it was an epic time to invest. Really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But many of you didn't take advantage of that. So boo-hoo. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to be proactive, and you're going to set up a plan for inflation. You're going to set up a plan for taxation, and you're going to also set up a plan for longevity. Now, I get it. I'm conservative. I'm worried about the markets. I'm worried about the world. So my tip is have one bucket of money that you don't worry about. Let it grow, untethered by the whims of your emotions for growth in more risk-based assets, stock-based ETFs or index funds. And then number two, you could look at a diversified portfolio of individual stocks. When we pick a stock portfolio for clients, we like 20 to 30 because then you're diversified, but you're not too diversified. And we let it grow. And when you buy those stocks, you want to buy them not for a year. You want to buy them for 3 to 5 year theses. I didn't say feces. I said thesis. So your thesis would be, well, I'm going to buy this stock because I believe in a 3 to 5 year future for this stock. So buy things for the long term. Now, sure, do I think we're due for a correction? Yes. Do I think you're a fool if you don't prepare? Yes. So give us a call, prepare, and set up a plan. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after our final break of the hour. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, and I'm going to give you a brief history of the income tax. Most people don't realize that the income tax was created somewhere around the 1910s. Now, originally, the first income tax was instituted by Abraham Lincoln to fund the Civil War. Then it was suspended. Honest Abe was indeed honest. So the Civil War led to the creation of the income tax, and then they never taxed income for like 60 years. And the government had one of the biggest growths. I mean, the country grew. You had the steel manufacturers and oil, you had the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the robber barons. But they were able to grow their wealth, employing vast amount of people. Now, there were problems to deal with, but
how do we pay for the military back then?
I don't know if we really maybe use taxes. Good question. But income taxes, so interesting thing, I'm going to look at E-File. They have a nice chart of the history of the income taxes. Then, this is interesting, we can look at tax revenue by source, corporate income taxes, excise taxes, like luxury taxes, taxes on tea, other taxes, use taxes, bridge taxes, more like tolls were the way they paid for things. So the history of the income tax, as we know it today, started in 1913 with the Progressives, Woodrow Wilson. And, it started out, we're not going to tax you that much. We're going to tax you a little bit here, a little bit there. And then all of a sudden, boom, tax rates, the highest marginal rates were near 80%. Now, the lowest tax rates were in the 5 to 10% bracket. So for the Bernie Sanders types who say that in the 40s and 50s, tax rates were high as 90%, they were indeed 90%, but it was kind of cool because if you invested in your business, if you bought things, like everything was a write-off. Vacations was a write-off. Buying alpacas was a write-off. Farms, horses, investing in machinery. So yes, the highest marginal tax rates were 90%, but there were many tax write-offs that people got. So people didn't pay that. But so 90% in the 40s, 50s. JFK lowered the marginal rate from 90% to 70%. People thought of him as like a god. And then Reagan lowered them from about 70% to about 50% in his early term. Then he lowered them again to about 28%. And then we had, the Reagan economic boom. George Herbert Walker Bush raised them a little bit. That was the whole no new taxes comment that he got burnt for. And then Clinton raised them. Then Bush lowered them. Bush 2. Then and Obama raised them again a little bit. Trump lowered them. Biden wants to raise them a little bit again. Why the history of the income tax? Because some of your largest assets, IRAs and 401ks, are you're deferring taxes to a date in time in the future where taxes may be higher. So if your largest asset is your IRA or tax-deferred annuities, you'll want to call us if you have a big 401k, 403b, to get a plan, a distribution plan. Big question I want you to ask yourself is, do you have an exit strategy for your 401k or 403b? Call us now at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. We'll go over year-end tax planning, year-end financial planning. We'll talk to your accountant. We'll give you a financial team that can work for you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and you get the free book when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674, 888-988-JOSH.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and Top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelensky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at jelensky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelensky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an